You've been trading for a couple years. You should be way better than you are now. But seriously, I've thought the same thing myself, that I should be way further along than I am. But here's the part that I don't think gets talked about enough. All years are not equal. Some years are genuinely wasted on gambling, over-trading, and just losing money. Some years are spent building real skill, and others are spent unlearning the bad habits. And that last part, the unlearning, I think that takes a lot longer than any of us would have expected. So, I want to quickly go through my real trading timeline and what that's looked like for me. And then I want to talk about what I could have done differently to shorten that process, and what all of us gets a better trading year without rushing it, and definitely with less stress and less money spent. I didn't start trading by trying to learn how the markets work. I started because I thought I could make a lot of money fast. I joined a signals group and honestly believed that if I just followed a professional trader, I didn't need to actually understand anything myself. I wasn't trying to build a skill. I was outsourcing responsibility. And at the time, it felt great. I could just copy trades and hope for the best. But what I didn't realize was that I was learning some of the worst habits possible. No hard stop losses. Everything was mental. Stops were often moved or ignored entirely. Wins were celebrated. Losses were barely talked about. There were no clear rules, no accountability, and no real discipline. Trading was incredibly stressful for me during this time. I was losing money, losing sleep, and constantly on edge. But I thought that was just what trading felt like. I started in the worst possible way, and it took me years to undo the damage from that. Eventually, I lost about $20,000 and my trading account was taken away from me. That's when I discovered prop firms, and I jumped straight into Apex's $300,000 account without actually knowing how to trade. So, I did what everyone does. I went to YouTube. I wasn't learning a strategy, though. I was collecting them. RSI, fractals, indicators. And then I found Al Brooks. I bought his course, watched most of it, and tried to trade like him. But none of it worked. Not because the material was bad, but because I didn't have the structure, rules, or consistency. And that's where things really started to spiral. This phase was chaos. I passed evals, blew up funded accounts, and told myself I was getting experience. The problem was that everything looked like a reasonable trade to me. When you don't have clear rules, every candle starts to feel like your big opportunity. I was overtrading, constantly chasing moves, tilting and jumping from idea to idea, and because I was trying to trade someone else's style, I couldn't even tell what was or wasn't working. But eventually, something important changed. In my third year, I finally did something different. I switched to the 1-minute chart and built a strategy that actually fit how I think. Trend-based, clearly defined rules, something I could backtest properly. The frustrating part, on paper, it worked. In backtesting, it worked. But live, I was still blowing accounts. I did get 2 pails from top, which was real progress for me, but I still couldn't consistently execute. That's when it finally clicked. The strategy wasn't the problem anymore. The real problem was my discipline. At the beginning of 2025, I blew a bunch of funded accounts in a very short period of time, and instead of immediately signing up for more, I finally stopped and asked a different question. Why can't I follow my own plan? I realized discipline wasn't something I could force. If my environment, my pressure, and my habits didn't support discipline, it would always break down. That's when I stopped focusing on making money and started focusing on removing the things that were sabotaging me. A big part of the problem is that so many of us come into trading with really unrealistic expectations about how long it actually takes and how much money we're going to make. And then we hold on to those expectations when they're clearly hurting our progress. That pressure to be further along pushes us to force trades, to rush, and to keep repeating those same mistakes over and over, which actually slows down our progress and our learning. So now I want to talk about what I would have done differently and what we can all still change. So looking back, there are some very clear things that I could have done to shorten this timeline for myself, or at the very least, I could have made it less expensive and a lot less stressful. But the good news is these aren't things that you had to do 3 years ago or whenever you started. These are things that you can start doing now that will make a real difference. So, what I wish I had done differently was not starting with real money. I really wish that I would have, and I see some people doing this in the Discord, and I'm always like, you are doing this exactly the right way. I wish I would have focused first on the strategy and the process and nailing that on sim first, before putting any real money into the market from there. I think the best thing to do would have been to go to a small prop firm account and see how I could perform when there was some real money on the line, and when I had the strict rules of the prop firm to follow. So that's how I wish I had started. I would have not joined a signals group. I think that was a huge mistake. I know that was a huge mistake. I learned so many bad habits. I lost $20,000. It was super stressful. I really wish that I hadn't done that. The thing that also slowed down my progress after I left the signals group was I then, after a few months found, other traders' live streams. I found Top Step TV. I found other traders' live streams, and I started listening to those while I was trading, and it really hurt my trading. Some days, I'd get a nice free trade from someone where I'd win and think like, oh, it was good that I was listening, or that was great. But more often than not, it just interfered with my own process. It caused me to take trades that I wouldn't normally take, and it caused me to stay out of my setups if it was going against what the person on the stream was doing. So I think that really held my progress back a lot. If you're still listening to other traders while you trade, I would encourage you to cut it out at least for a month or two and see what happens. Sticking with one strategy long enough, I really wish that early on I would have just picked a strategy and then worked on that and tested that and seen how it worked instead of hopping all over the place. I do like Al Brooks. I liked what I learned in his course. But like I said, for me being so new to trading, everything was looking like a reasonable setup. So I just ended up overtrading and just in way too many trades that I shouldn't have been in. So I really wish that I would have just gone with one strategy, learned that, and then developed something on my own after that. Separating learning from earning. I went in thinking I didn't think I needed to learn. So that was obviously stupid and a mistake from the beginning. But I went in thinking I didn't need to learn. I went in thinking I was just going to follow this guy, and I was going to start earning right away. Obviously, that didn't happen. And I wish that I would have gone in with the attitude of it's going to take me at least a year or two of learning before I have any sort of thoughts of earning any money from it. The other one is accepting boredom and patience as a part of the job. I started off in that group, there were no trade days. Every day was multiple trades. So I really got in that habit of the excitement of, taking a trade and just constantly looking for the next trade instead of, accepting that there should be a lot more waiting and I should be a lot more selective about the trades that I am taking and quicker to get out of them. All right. So here are some things that I think we could do right now and in 2026 that I think will actually make it a more productive and meaningful year for our trading. This is definitely my plan going forward. So if you feel like you have a lot of the same kind of issues that I do in your trading, then you might want to copy what I'm saying to do here. So the first thing is going to be to zoom out. Actually list the progress that you've made in your trading. I think it's really easy for us to see where we're falling short and where we're not meeting our expectations that we had for ourselves in our trading. But I don't think we ever look back over the entire time and actually list out the progress that we have made and what we've learned and how far we've actually The next thing is to do like I did in the video and map out your timeline. You don't need to spend hours figuring out your whiteboard animations and make it into a video. But if you do that, I'd love to see it. But just write down your timeline. So, really, how much time did you waste, like me in a signals group or listening to other traders in live streams? Or how much time did you waste kind of strategy hopping? Write it all out for yourself. And then, I don't know, I think it helps. I felt like it helped being okay, so I've You know, I effed around for this much time, and I spent this much time seriously working on my trading. And I think it makes me optimistic about this year because it's like, great, this is going to be a serious working on my trading year. So I do believe that I'm going to make a lot of progress. Identify your block or whatever it is, whether it's your strategy, discipline, your own expectations, or the pressure that you or someone else is putting on your trading. Next, we want to slow the pace. This is all last year. I feel like I've worked so much on slowing the pace, and it's not easy, but slowing the pace is fewer trades. It's smaller size, and it's fewer accounts. If you're not consistent yet, then cut down the amount of prop form accounts you're trading. I know that we want to trade more accounts because then you can make more money, but if you're trading more accounts before you're ready, I think that more often means losing more money instead of making more money. Speaking of lots of accounts, Apex has their 90% sale on right now. I think it's for like a week, so just thought I'd let you know. Someone in the Discord let me know. I didn't even know it was happening. Okay. The next thing we want to do is start doing this now. If you haven't done it already, do it now. Cap the damage. So, set a monthly budget on your trading, whether you're trading a personal account or a prop firm or prop firms, set a monthly budget. How much money are you okay losing on your trading per month? That's how many evals or, funded accounts, activation fees you can afford. So figure that number out, and then look at your prop firm and calculate, okay, what does this mean for my trading? And then stick to that. If you blow the budget, by January 7th, then you're done trading prop accounts for the rest of the month. You need to go to sim so that you can honor that budget. Next thing is to shift your goals. I know it's really hard not to have goals based on money and payouts, because and some people get on my case in the comments being like, oh, you just got into trading because you wanted to make money. Like, you're never going to make it because that's a shitty reason to get into trading. And I don't know. I'm kind of like, I think most of us got into trading because we're like, oh, we can work from anywhere in the world. We can make tons of money. We don't have the stress of like a boss and, clients and inventory and all that other kind of stuff. So, okay, I went off topic there, but shift your goals away from money. So make your goals around your discipline and your progress and your process, not on your P&L and not on the payouts, and then create some kind of structure for yourself. The more that I talk to other traders and the more that I look at my own behaviors in this, the more I start seeing that we kind of need to really have these really strict, structured processes around our trading. So if you want to create some structure, and it's the beginning of the year, so I think this might be a good one I might do this myself actually, is do, like the Mark Douglas, 20 trades. Take 20 trades, 20 consecutive trades on your strategy, and just treat it as a science experiment. And you're just collecting data on it. If you're watching this, and you're still thinking that you're behind or you're not where you should be, I really hope this helped to reframe that for you. Progress in trading isn't linear, and a lot of time isn't spent learning new things. It's actually spent unlearning those bad habits that we picked up. If this resonated, then I really would encourage you to slow down the pace, focus on the process, and don't judge yourself by where you thought you would be.